point in time where this might not be rehabilitative, but be a way of increasing mobility for people who are paralyzed so that they could potentially put this on every morning, just like an amputee would put on an artificial leg in the morning?
I do see that day on the horizon. I see it as soon as possibly 2015. There's different companies out there. I represent as the executive director of Bridging Bionics Foundation. So while I wear the EXO as an Exobionics manufacturer of this exoskeleton, there's other exoskeleton manufacturers out there. There's Rex from Rexobionics, Rewalk. There's also Indigo that's coming onto the horizon, made from Vanderbilt University and manufactured by Parker Hannifin. And so with these different exoskeleton manufacturers, it brings validity to the technology. I think it is going to keep advancing. This is just the beginning. What we have at the moment is a rehabilitative device. And with the EXO, they have worked really hard on perfecting the gait. And so it's a gait therapy device to get someone back walking normally. But I see that it's going to be able to go up curbs and stairs, over uneven terrain, up and down ramps. I do see that this is going to become a device that will be functional for daily living. Mm-hmm. And what the company has invited me into, so that I'm an integral part of the process, they teamed up with 3D Systems and collaborated with them, Exobionics did, so that we could look towards a new design for an individual, so that for the first time, instead of a completely functional, mechanical, and utilitarian device, we're now looking towards a design that could be this kinematic art form of design and beauty that would weave in a person's individuality and personality into the design itself. And I was a part of that, in that 3D Systems came. I wore a skin-colored unitard. It wasn't very pretty. And my body was scanned with a $30,000 camera. These images were then cast onto a computer screen, and those images were then printed into 3D parts that were taken from my own body, and they were created into these striated filigree patterns that were complex, and they resembled my own muscles, and they were put on this robot. Now, this material is a nylon material that was 3D printed. It's very robust, it's very strong, super lightweight, and flexible as well. And so ultimately, it was as though my own DNA became a part of the design itself. And I presented this in Hungary, in Budapest, last November. And this was an research and development project, an R&D project. We're now looking at the second generation of this project. And so this is something that we're looking toward the future of. Where can this go so that we can maybe weave color into it? When I say personality and individuality, I mean, I'm a girl. I want high heels.
What's the biggest limitation on either the person or the device to being able to pretty much use this on a daily basis? I mean, as just a part of your daily activities, to put this on and then go for the day with this exoskeleton on. What's the biggest roadblock in making that happen?
We need to make that big leap to getting it to be an individualized device. And at the moment, this device is meant to walk on flat terrain, no more than a 2% grade. Now, I've pushed it to the limits, and I take it out and I take it on different ramped surfaces, but it is only meant to be for no more than a 2% grade. And so what I see is, if we can individualize it, if it can become slimmer and sleeker, smaller, so that I could, don it in my wheelchair. If I could use it to sidestep and to to don it in the morning and use it throughout the day
Right.
as a utilitarian device. I see it happening. It's a ways off, but I really want your viewers to understand that what we have right now is a rehabilitation device. And people challenge me and they say, yeah, but it doesn't do this, and it doesn't do this, and it doesn't do this. And my comeback for them is, well, isn't walking enough?
Right.
Really, I mean, for the first time in the history of movement, we have another mobility device for rehabilitation other than the wheelchair. And that's a large statement.
Right. So, since it's a rehabilitative device, obviously we've talked about one use, which is people who've had strokes or something like that, who will ultimately recover mobility, and this is going to help them. But for paraplegics, they will not regain mobility. So in what ways does it rehabilitate someone who is wheelchair bound?
Well, actually, that statement that you made is being challenged right now by a really incredible scientist, Dr. Susan Hakama, out of the University of Kentucky with Fraser Institute in Louisville, Kentucky. And she's implanted neuroprosthetics below the lesion, below the injury level, and she's determined that voluntary movements can occur, and there's a message somehow getting from the brain into the spinal cord. She's determined that the spinal cord is as intelligent as the brain. It's as malleable. It has a memory. It can relearn, and that there's every reason to prepare your body to walk again if you're deemed a complete paraplegic. And in the past, rehabilitative clinics and centers have rehabilitated a person above their level of injury. So say I can just move from my waist up. Let's just keep this moving. And there was very little push and desire to help rehabilitate a person below their level of injury. There's studies and evidence now that speak to the importance of locomotor training, where high dosage stepping and walking repetitively in a repetitive gait pattern can actually not only help rewire the brain, but rewire the spinal cord.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of evidence that speaks to this technology, and not just walking on a treadmill, in a robotic device on a treadmill being suspended. There's everything that speaks to the validity of fully weight bearing. So we need to weight bear so that we get better bone density,
Right.
to walk over ground with the world going by us, but also to do that in perfect biomechanical alignment. And that's what an exoskeleton suit does.
Okay. So the rehabilitative portion of this is that ultimately, if scientists are successful in recovering the ability to move from patients who have spinal cord injuries, that their bodies will already be ready to do that, and that this actually helps that rewiring process
Yes,
of your brain, so that your legs kind of in essence are relearning how to move.
Yes, and that's my belief. Now, I read, I try to keep informed. I would like to think that I'm a somewhat intelligent woman, and I find that it's my responsibility to look at what's out there with the research and the data. But whenever I speak, I'm very careful to speak from my own experience. So from Amanda Boxtel's world, I would like to believe that with every step that I take, that I am rewiring those neural pathways with high dosage stepping. Now, there's different centers around the country that this device is in the top rehabilitation centers in the country. Rehab Institute of Chicago, Kessler, Craig Hospital, all over Miami Project to Cure Paralysis. They all have this technology, and they're conducting research studies. And I'm with the rest of the country. I can't wait for these peer-reviewed articles to be published, to come out and verify and give validity to what I feel and in my daily therapeutic training and what I do. But what I notice is when I walk, I'm no longer prone to edema and swelling in my ankles. So the cankles go away. I have increased circulation in my legs, so they're no longer purple and splotchy and cold. My digestive system operates more efficiently and regularly. When we sit and we're sedentary, our bodies begin to die. We need to move. And so my digestive, I go to the bathroom, I pee and go to the bathroom right after I've walked, just like someone might after they've been running or jogging. And the other thing that I really notice, well, there's a couple more things. Mental acuity, sharpness. It's as though someone's lifted the veil from my head and I'm out of the fog. But mostly what I notice is that my neuropathic nerve pain dissipates completely when I walk in an exoskeleton suit. And I'm not sure why. I've spoken with some pain doctors and researchers out of Stanford University, and so I have my thoughts as to why that's occurring. But it's still up for question and up for study and research. But I know that in my own experience, my neuropathic nerve pain that is sometimes on a pain scale of 1 to 10, sometimes off the charts, it's an 11. It dissipates completely when I walk. And that's what I mean by quality of life.